right, episode 3 tonight. Hold on, I am in a weird spot.
Just in life, or what?
Yeah, in life in general, and in a weird spot. I'm
Yeah, your legs
crotch
are
to crotch
creeping me out
with
right now.
Keenan here. Which
It's all in the family.
yeah, we'll introduce. This is our very first guest ever tonight.
Oh, wow.
It's not the
Yes.
department. It's not the head of the Defense Department.
Yeah.
He's late. He's in traffic right now trying to make it.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the Secretary of Defense on here. That's what we keep promising people.
Yeah.
Maybe
He's on his way. I swear.
maybe the 100th episode
Right.
or something. We'll get him on here.
Right.
But we have a guy.
Yeah.
Yep, that's about it. Yep,
All right.
Can't hold it together.
Yeah, he's my brother.
Yep.
That's about it. So anyway, he's musician. Got anything to say about that?
About being a musician.
Yeah.
The best times. Worst of times. Mainly
Yeah.
with Kyle.
The worst of times with me.
Yeah,
yes.
pretty
yeah,
much.
we were in a band together for,
A long, long time.
yeah, probably 4-ish years.
No.
It's a long time.
Longer than that.
Longer than that. When did we start?
Longer
We
than I've
started-
been alive.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. We were playing bars long before we should have been in bars. So
That's
yes.
true. I was like 14 years old,
Yeah,
hanging
should
out
not
in
have been
bars.
there. Oh, it's time for beer. Okay.
Yeah.
I already opened mine.
Nice.
Yep.
But you know what that means? That means no Zach Facts tonight.
That's right.
And no mustard talk with the mustard man.
That's right.
Is Zach
So-
gonna hear that? Zach's gonna hear this?
Yeah, he'll hear this.
I mean, we assume he listens to it, unlike watching the movies that we're supposed to watch.
Yeah, last week he was on. I didn't even watch the movie.
I'm disappointed, Watson.
Oh. But this guy, Keenan here, he definitely watched the movie.
I forced
yeah.
him to watch this movie
Yeah.
last night.
All right,
think
so
I'd
what's
seen it before.
Yeah, what's the movie?
What began as an innocent conversation among friends would soon spiral out of control and later be referred to by future generations as the eighth wonder of the modern world. Mac East Second Floor Studios takes you on the journey of your lifetime as your captains, Alex the Thoughtful, Jamie the Brain, Kyle El Capitan, and Zach the Backbone present Submersion. Movie we're talking about tonight is none other. Keenan, you wanna tell us what it is?
Down Periscope.
That's the Kelsey Grammer vehicle, Down
Yes.
Periscope.
My word, this movie. We get a little ratings here. IMDb gives it a 6 out of 10.
And you know what? That's actually low.
I think it's really
That is low. Like if you
I think it's generous.
No, for movies for movies that that have a lot of popularity, they get a boost automatically. So
Right.
the lower amount of votes you have, the lower it'll sit. So a 6 is actually pretty bad. Like if you start dipping into the 5s, you're a really bad movie. So
Okay.
it's probably some nostalgia factor, people remembering Down Periscope and boosting that rating a little bit. But that's a pretty rough rating for a
That's
popular film.
I probably thought that. I mean, it's one of the best, not best in terms of, storyline or anything like that, but best grossing, I think, sub-movies.
It's one of I think it's definitely in the top 10.
wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because you watched it last night and you saw what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised by the star power in there, though. It was. I'm sure we'll touch
It's a
on it
lot
later,
of
but
recognizable faces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
Well,
they were
nowadays.
as recognized. Yeah, not as recognizable.
no,
then,
even
but-
Actually, back in that time, they were.
Yeah, no, there were a
Grammer
bunch
for
of them in
sure.
there.
Rob Schneider was newer, I guess.
Sure, and then you have some people from that era, like Artie, the strongest man in the world, from Pete and Pete. He played the electrician.
Oh,
That's Artie, or also he was also the mattress king in Seinfeld.
okay. And then you also had
I knew you looked familiar.
Harland Williams,
Yep.
from
Oh.
which
Sonar.
was in one of my favorite movies, Rocket Man.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also star of Puppy Dog Pals.
That is
And
true.
he also, that's the second movie where someone farts in a contained space and causes some kind of disruption. Because in that movie, he farted in his spacesuit
That's right.
and caused a lot of problems.
Yeah,
In
remember
this
it made that huge bubble.
Yeah, this film he was not the farter. In this film, it was the guy who played Max from Armageddon, who I don't know the name of. He farted in the sub, but we'll get to that.
Cook.
Oh,
That's for
yep.
the recap.
That is for the recap. Yeah, and then this movie was also directed by David Ward. He's only directed 6 other movies. Major League 1 and Major League 2.
Even better.
And Down Periscope was the last one he's directed. He's more of a writer, I guess. because he's written 15. He's got The Sting from
Wow,
73.
that's a good one.
Sting 2.
That one's less good.
Then Major League,
Sure.
Sleepless in Seattle, Major League 2, Fly Boys, and then a new one called Music, War, and Love. It's his first thing he's written in 10 years, and I looked at it, and there's really no major actors or anything in
You
this
see
movie.
that crop up for directors and writers who have fallen out of the biz a little bit, but I'm guessing that does not get released.
I believe it.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, we even forgot to mention William H. Macy's in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's famous from Wild Hogs.
I love Wild Hogs. Wild Hogs,
too.
underrated film.
Yeah.
The other one they made, Old Dog. Ever seen Old Dogs?
No.
No, is that an
same
extension?
director? No, same director. So he made Wild Hogs, which was like a huge success, like a huge box office success. And then they were like, the studio was like, we really want Wild Hogs 2. And he was like, great, but I got this other movie I want to do first, and then we'll get to Wild Hogs 2. And they were like, perfect, we'll fund it, everything will be great. They made Old Dogs with Robin Williams and John Travolta. And Robin Williams has to like take care of his twin kids that he didn't know he had. It's actually, it has some similar plot details to Down Periscope even. Like
Really?
A tattoo he has that is very embarrassing from A Night on the Town, that kind of thing. And
William H. Macy had a tattoo in Wild Hogs too. Remember, he got the Apple logo tattooed on his butt or something.
Yeah, something like that. And it was so horrendously bad. It's one of my favorite bad movies, just for how it's one of the weirdest films you can watch. Old Dogs, It was a gigantic box office flop, and they subsequently canceled Wild Hogs 2. So that's why we don't have a Wild Hogs 2 in our life.
Oh, Old Dogs with a Metascore of 19.
Yeah, and a 5 point. You can see that 5.4. Yeah, so that means you're real in the dumps when you get down to that halfway mark of IMDb. Yeah,
Oh my
that's how
word.
IMDb works.
Yes. Oh,
It's
we got
bad.
Seth Green in here, Bernie Mac.
Yeah, Seth Green.
Rest in peace.
All right, so should we get into getting a little recap?
I think we should.
All right. So we open very similar to Phantom. We always got to bring it back to Phantom.
Yes.
With them basically, the Navy deciding whether they're going to have a somewhat semi-disgraced submarine captain take over the captainship of a diesel submarine in their fleet. And they're kind of going back and forth. One guy is like kind of his proponent. He likes him. He likes this captain.
And he's played by Rip Torn.
Yeah, Rip Torn loves him, and you get this interspliced with Kelsey Grammer, who's the captain they're talking about, seemingly in the process of targeting an enemy. So I keep on flashing between these two scenes. He's targeting the enemy. Rip Torn's arguing for him. This other guy, who's played by some character actor, is arguing against him. And the reason he's arguing against him is he says, no, we can't make him a captain. He has a tattoo on his dick.
Yes. And that becomes a major point in the film.
It's mentioned multiple times, and
Oh,
not
yeah.
just by me. I'm not making this up. It's like, I know I talked
Jamie's-
about the people's dicks in this,
Yes.
but like, and this is real. Like, it actually happened this time.
This probably should have been the last movie we actually watched
Well, yeah.
had we known this.
I'm the boy who cried. He pulled his dick out in this movie because, like, now you won't believe me. But he didn't pull his dick out. Well, he did, but that was in my cut of the movie.
Unrated
And
extended.
Yeah, the extended version. Kelsey Grammer's personal cut of the film. But you know, they actually talk about it. It's a huge plot point. Emphasis on the huge.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Pun intended.
So do you remember what the tattoo was?
Yeah, it said "Welcome aboard."
Oh yeah,
It's kind of genius.
it's solid.
It
Yeah,
It's good.
that's just tight writing.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I say. That's just a screenwriter who knows what's up.
Yeah, and there's even a quote where when Rip Torn is talking to Kelsey Grammer, he's just letting him know that he's going to be taking over this diesel submarine. Kelsey Grammer obviously doesn't want that. He wants a nuclear submarine, one of the newer, better things.
Yeah.
And Rip Torn starts yelling at him. He's like, "I want a man with a tattoo on his dick. Do I have the right man?" And he's like, "Strangely enough, you do."
Yeah, you do. But yeah, so anyways, they're intersplicing, and then you come to find that Kelsey Grammer is actually not targeting an enemy sub. He's targeting the green of a golf course, and he shoots a golf ball off of his sub, and his captain, William H. Macy, is pissed at him and basically like, "You're a disgrace. I'm going to get you court-martialed. Like, your career's done." And I couldn't tell if Kelsey Grammer was like kind of joking around with it. He's like, "Oh, I know, like I'm like upset. I really a career down the drain." But I couldn't tell if he wanted to get fired or something. Like it seemed.
It was hard
strange.
to tell.
Yeah, his acting was not. There was not a lot behind it. It was kind of just saying lines for the most part. But in the end, at the same time, right when he's about to send in that saying, "Oh, I'm going to fire this guy," he gets the captainship. So Rip Torn wins the argument, and he gets captainship of his own ship, and he's real pleased about this. And off he goes to Norfolk, Virginia, to take over the ship.
Basically, I mean, what he has to do is he has to go through and he's playing 2 sets of war games, and if he's able to complete these, he can become the captain of a nuclear submarine.
Yeah.
And so the first, I thought the movie was going to be over way too quick because I'll get into that in a minute. We got a whole lot of stuff going on.
You thought it was going to be over too fast? You were going to be like, I need more Down Periscope.
Actually, I did think it went pretty quick, but I didn't necessarily need more, I guess.
You were fulfilled by the end.
Yes, I was. So, also, the crew is hand-selected.
Yeah, so he goes out to see his new crew of this new submarine that he has. This diesel sub. It's a hunk of junk, as he would say. A rust bucket, he might say that. He'd be like,
well, Rob Schneider even said, he's like, I think I need to get a tetanus shot just from looking at this thing.
Right, yeah. So, yeah, Rob Schneider's his XL, playing the Denzel Washington role in this film. And
how do you think he did compared to Denzel?
I think he, okay, so Rob Schneider is often the worst thing I've ever seen in a film.
Right.
I'm thinking Grown Ups.
Fair.
Worst thing I've ever seen in a film. And
I did like him in The Hot Chick. That movie's just so
that's
ridiculous.
where when he gets to shine, it's when he's in the starring role.
But he's in. If people don't know who Rob Schneider is, watch any Adam Sandler movie, you'll see him.
But when he's in Judge Dredd as a side character, and
that's for real.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, he's obviously in Judge Dredd.
Why wouldn't he be?
Yeah. But when he's in roles like that, he kind of he ruins it, and I did not like him. That's the moral of that story. I did not like him in this role. I would prefer Denzel Washington. It wouldn't have been as funny maybe with Denzel Washington.
Actually, it probably would have been more funny because it just would have been ridiculous. But why is Denzel doing this movie?
No, but everyone would have sided with Denzel. You would have been like, you know what, Denzel's
that
right.
Is true.
Why would you go with Kelsey Grammer over Denzel? You'd be like, no, this guy. I'm all in.
That guy's got "Welcome Aboard" tattooed on his dick. I'm not going to go with him.
No.
Denzel, what do you got on yours?
Just a regular old dick, and that's what you want out of your captain.
Yeah. Just
clean cut.
Yeah. Good. That's the best phrase. I couldn't think of it.
Yeah. So they're going through their crew, hand selected. Everyone's got a nickname. We get Sonar. That's Harlan Williams. He's the guy who runs the sonar, obviously. We get the son of Rip Torn. We didn't know he's the son of Rip Torn. We know he's
you don't know until the very end.
He's the son of a commander. That's all you know. And he wants to get kicked out of the Navy, so he keeps on trying to get dishonorably discharged. But Kelsey Grammer's not having any of that, and he's like, "No, welcome aboard." And
right, because he's like, "You're gonna have to throw me off this submarine." He's like, "Well, if I do, it's gonna be in the middle of the Atlantic."
Foreshadowing. That's called foreshadowing.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah. And so that's another guy, and we got who else? We got a former basketball player, a Navy.
Oh, the gambler.
We got
the guy
the gambler.
Shows up in no shoes.
Do you know who that is? Do you know who played the gambler?
No.
His name is Jonathan Penner, right? He 3-time competitor on Survivor.
Really?
Yep. He's like a Survivor celebrity. Like, I know who he is from Survivor, not from anything else.
Wow,
I was like, that is Jonathan Penner from Survivor. And then he wrote this year's The Bye-Bye Man, the horror film The Bye-Bye Man.
Never heard of that.
The Bye-Bye Man is hilarious. It is so bad. You should check it out.
All right, an endorsement from Jamie right there. The Bye-Bye Man.
It's a horrible film. I highly recommend it.
Bye-Bye Man.
Yeah. Who else we got? Who else we got on the ship?
Nitro.
Which one's Nitro?
Nitro.
Nitro's
yeah,
electrician.
Yeah, Nitro's electrician. That's already the strongest man in the world.
And it's funny because that's not his nickname. Nitro is his name.
Yeah, that's right.
true.
His nickname is Mike. Yeah, his nickname is
He's
Mike.
like, I'm working on a nickname.
Yeah. Mike. And then do we have? Oh, we have Max the cook, who is basically just a slob. That's his whole character, is he's a giant slob.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anyone else?
Well, you have the very first in our podcast, main leading lady.
Yeah,
True.
first leading lady of these, and it's going to be pretty rare. I think G.I. Jane might be the other one we get.
Okay.
That's also a
Lauren
submarine
Holly. She's also Mary Swanson in Dumb and Dumber.
Oh yeah.
And she's in another movie with William H. Macy, another sub movie called In Enemy Hands.
And that'll come up later in one of my games.
Good.
Yeah. So they're a motley crew, not seaworthy at all, but ready to make this sub ship shape. So off they go, and they basically, I don't know, what do they play? Like in the Navy, about the village people, and a big montage happens or something. Some shit like that happens.
Yes. And eventually, I mean, the sub just looks totally rusted at the beginning, but it looks okay, and they're ready to sail out.
Yeah.
But they play a prank on Lauren Holly before they sail out.
Oh, yeah. They replace all her clothes with much smaller clothes.
Yep.
So her breasts are basically like busting out.
Yep. And that basically cancels the shore leave for the night, so everybody has to stay on the sub even though it's docked.
Yeah, and what's funny is, and maybe I've been debating on whether to save this or not, but do you know, and this is just a good point, good part to bring this up is, do you know that when they do surveys with submariners and what the most accurate submarine film is, do you know which one it is?
There's no way it's this.
It's Down Periscope.
Are you serious?
Yep, I have a quote from a STEM jobs website. This is about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Their jobs website with an interview with a submariner, and the question was for that submariner, "What's the most accurate movie about submarine life?" ? The submariners all agree that it's Down Periscope, and if you're into The Hunt for the Red October, read it instead of watching it. So basically, he says this is the most accurate portrayal. And there's other people who have gone through this movie and said what's accurate or not. And they said, the pranks they play on her and stuff like that, he didn't know too much about because women weren't allowed on submarines when he was in the Navy. But he would have been surprised if they weren't punished more for things like that. But that the kind of joking that they did wouldn't have been surprising.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I believe that. All the other movies are kind of nuts. There's like some giant mutiny going on and people busting guns out.
Yeah. Do you know what the least accurate is?
Is it Crimson Tide?
It's Crimson Tide.
No way.
It is. Last movie, Crimson Tide, least accurate.
Oh, it's such a good movie, though.
I
guess good movies don't make for... Normal life doesn't make for good movies.
Second week in a row, I have to maybe downgrade my score. I gave it a 10. Maybe it's a 9. It's not accurate enough. I got to give it a 9. 9-inch sub.
I don't know.
Oh. It's great, though.
That could be something we factor in. Realism, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Now that I know that.
Yeah. So anyways, when this realistic portrayal of sexual harassment occurs in the film, then they ship off afterwards. She says I can handle it myself, and Kelsey Grammer seems to be taken with this, respects her for that, and off they go. So off they go for their first dive, and she wants to do the dive. He's not so sure. Kelsey Grammer's not so sure.
Right, because she's only ever done simulated dives.
Yeah,
this is her first one.
Almost like another character we knew from a previous film. Denzel Washington in Crimson Tide was a thinker, not someone with he was an academic. He didn't know what was going on. Guess what we found out then?
She didn't know what was going on.
Well, we didn't find out then, but we found out that Denzel Washington could handle his shit, and
that is true.
And we found out in this one she could also handle her stuff. Like she was good.
She was.
So.
And she even took a jab at Kelsey Grammer because they were talking. She's like, I've only ever done the simulation, but I checked my scores are higher than yours. He's like, well, how do you know that?
True.
And
there was
she
a little
said,
bit of shade.
I have a printout. Like that's a dick move, I guess, to do that, especially your new boss. But.
Yeah. And so they start. They're kind of playing around. They do a dive. And this is where we get the third movie in a row where they go to the crush point. They hit the crush
depth.
Crush depth.
And this one isn't very deep compared to the other ones.
But it's more realistic, according to the websites I was reading.
All right. 500?
500.
And they say, and on the websites, they said usually it's around 400, and that what was unrealistic about this is they would never allow them to go below that during peacetime. You're only supposed to go below crush points when you're like trying to evade an enemy or something like
Really?
that. Yeah.
I'd never want to go below crush point.
No.
You have to sometimes.
Well, I guess if it saves your life. But they
So-
even make a point of it in this. The one experienced guy, he takes a string
Yep.
and he hangs it from wall to wall, and he says, "Hey, watch this. The way, because this is an old sub, these walls are going to bend in, and you see the string starts sagging really bad, and so
Yeah.
guess it's realistic."
That actually is. I mentioned in the articles I was
Really?
watching, they would actually do that. They would tape up a string to see how far it would sag. These are real things. I don't know who wrote this. Was it an actual submariner? I have no idea. None of the writers seems like they were actual submariners.
We need to talk to. Well, did David Ward? Did he wrote this one?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
he didn't. He just directed it.
Yeah, no. There were 3 writers on it, and they all were just from like the Bob Newhart show. They really knew their stuff. The one thing that kind of almost immediately I started thinking is like, this seems like it's a serious film they turned into a comedy, because it was one of the least funny movies I've actually ever watched.
That's what I thought too. The humor was, when it was there, it wasn't very good.
It was pretty subtle, and that a lot of times with Kelsey Grammer in particular, it was pretty subtle. But with other people, then they go over the top, like Rob Schneider chewing out the cook
right.
for seemingly no reason. Then you're supposed to find humor in it, but I'm just like, he's just kind of being a dick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Oh, because he was screaming because the coffee and the lard
We're in the wrong spots.
Yeah, and he says, "What are we gonna have when we wake up in the morning? A hot cup of pig fat or something?" He's like, "Well, it depends if it's a cold morning," and that's not funny.
No,
Not at all.
none of it was funny. And then they just did a couple pratfalls with him slipping on some oil, and you're supposed to think it was funny, but it's like, I'm sorry, Rob Schneider, you aren't.
You'll find
News
find
report.
it later in the hot shack.
Yeah. And so Kelsey Grammer's feeling pretty good about himself. They're doing pretty. They seem to be putting everything together. And so off they are for their war games. What they're supposed to do is they're supposed to take a ship in Charleston Harbor, Charleston, South Carolina. And so off they go for that. And he, Kelsey Grammer seems like he's resigned to losing, like just almost surrendering. He's like, ugh.
And Rob Schneider really questions, what's going on. He said, "Are you just giving up?"
Yeah.
Surprise, he's not giving up.
He's not. So they start approaching, and also in somewhat of a surprise, I guess, his old captain's the one that he's competing against, William H. Macy. And he's on the other submarine, and they're like, oh, if this guy's going to be real crafty. They don't know they're going against a diesel sub, but they like, oh, this guy's going to be real crafty. He's going to come from the south. And of course, since Kelsey Grammer is a sophisticated socialite from Seattle, he is also like, yes, I'm going to go from the south. So they're basically going to run into each other.
Right.
And in the end, they get pinged, or they get seen of sorts.
Yeah, they're detected by the sonar.
Yeah.
And
And that was all, again, got to bring it back, super realistic, much more realistic than Crimson Tide. The whole thing with sonar made more sense. It's usually a guy who's sitting there listening, and by his ear, he can tell different things. Yeah.
Well, that was also something I read in Crimson Tide, is they said that the depiction of sonar was so inaccurate.
Yeah, it was real bad.
But they did it it was more of a visual type
Right.
thing, but for the viewing audience. But it wasn't as realistic. This makes more sense, but it is crazy to me that people are able to identify a submarine or another ship by the way it sounds.
Yeah, even in the article I read, they said that people who work sonar on subs will eventually go deaf at certain frequencies. The frequencies they listen to the most, they won't be able to hear at the end of their career.
Well, I believe it, because they probably just sit there with those headphones turned all the way up,
really
because
high.
you have to find anything.
Yeah.
And the white noise or brown noise would drive you nuts.
Yeah. You shit your pants all day. So they're heading towards, and of course, Rob Schneider, he doesn't want to lose, but he's also just an incompetent asshole. And he's like, I refuse to let you surrender. And Kelsey Grammer's like, shut your stupid mouth. Like, let me deal with it because I'm the captain.
I wish that's what he actually
Yeah.
said in the movie. It would have been funnier.
Yeah.
So
So
Shut
then,
your stupid mouth, Rob Schneider.
and he's like, take me to the surface, which does seem like he's going to surrender. Like, why would you go to the surface if you've been seen by this sub? And the sub's coming for them, and they're going to find, and they're going to check, because they were a little confused, right? They're detecting some noise as if from a diesel engine, and they're like, wait, what? Like, that's not like a nuclear sub, so maybe it's a fishing vessel. They already think maybe it's a fishing vessel. Kelsey
Right.
Grammer, knowing this, they surface. He has someone run up a light to the top of their periscope. It's up periscope in this case, not down yet. It's mostly up.
Not
Actually,
yet.
they mostly say up Periscope during those.
I know. I was kind of disappointed,
Yeah.
but he did say Down Periscope
Yeah.
like once.
Yeah,
And that's always good when they, say the movie
Yeah.
name. I wish they did that.
It was that scene when
Crimson
when he
Tide.
took out his dick. He said, "Down Periscope," and it's just a flaccid dick that he took out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he screamed up Periscope and
Wait, was
6
that
to
actually,
midnight.
Yeah.
Was that actually in the cut?
That was actually most of the movie. 70% of the film was scenes like that. It was weird. I don't know.
You ever seen Zack and Miri make a porno
I have.
Yes.
where it's I want to say it's Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
Yep.
His power is that he can
Jason
just get a
Mewes.
boner whenever he wants.
That's
That's Kelsey Grammer's real life
Yeah. In this film
how he got to
and
where he
real
is.
life.
and real life. Well, that's why. Yeah. So they run the lights up. They turn on their running lights, and they start singing "Louie, Louie, Lou," and they're like, "Toss salad and scrambled eggs," and all kinds of songs to let everyone know that they are fishing. They're just a fishing vessel. Don't mind us. We're just a fishing vessel.
But they had to go and make a big scene. They had to have a guy go up and put a light all the way on top of the periscope. That's why it was up, so it looked like a fishing ship.
Yeah. And so they look up. They're like, "Oh, we just found a bunch of beard up fishermen. This what jokes?" And off they go. Off the submarine goes. And this is the first of several times they trick the subs. So this is where you get a little insight. Like Kelsey Grammer may be a little bit of fool. Maybe a Denzel Washington type character really connecting with his crew.
You do get that later.
Yeah, and but like he's also very crafty, and he knows what's up, and he knows how to win. He's a winner. He's like LeBron James or like Kobe Bryant or whatever, or Michael Jordan
Yeah.
or Tom Brady. He's like
you
he's
just
a
think
winner.
about Kelsey Grammer with those people.
I usually if I think Kelsey Grammer, I think Tom Brady. That's the first thought in my head.
The TB12.
TB12 method, yeah.
He's that fit.
Yeah.
Jamie knows about TB12.
It's all about pliability, really.
There
Like
you go.
I thought hydration as well.
it's a lot of it's about
all tied in.
it's a lot of it is about hydration. You got to drink like 18 gallons of water or some crazy amount that Tom Brady drinks. But also, yeah, you get massages like all the time because you got to get pliability. Pliability reduces with age, so you got to get these massages.
It's true.
I do trust
Look
this
at him.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
He's gonna win MVP.
Kelsey Grammer is. Yeah.
Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
If Kelsey Grammer were to step onto the football field, he'd probably beat Tom Brady.
100%. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's without a doubt.
Well, because all he'd have to do is he'd get out there and welcome aboard to be hanging out of his.
Yeah, he just pull out
pants.
his dick, and everyone would be like, "We give up."
There you go. With Kelsey Grammer, the Browns could be 1-15. Without
No, they'd be
Oh.
16-0.
You're gonna be your foot's gonna be in your mouth when the Browns win one of these last games. Oh man.
Because Kelsey Grammer came out of retirement.
Oh man. Out of retirement.
I don't know if it's my place to backtrack, but going back to the phrase "beard up,"
Yeah.
Yes.
Beard up
has
fisherman.
anyone heard "beard up" before? I've never heard this term.
These bros are beard up,
I
man.
think I'm gonna start using it a little bit more.
I have not until this
You
movie.
guys want to go get beard up?
Doesn't
All right.
sound
I don't know.
right,
It doesn't
yeah.
have a good ring. It just
No.
doesn't work.
I'm almost like, you guys want to go get hammered or
Yeah.
blackout drunk?
I think
Beard up.
they probably use that phrase to show how lame William H. Macy is.
There you go.
He's like,
Oh,
"Beard
that's
up."
true. Because he's kind of
He's a
you know,
square.
he is.
No doubt about it.
He is just like he was in Jurassic Park 3, a wimp.
And he definitely wasn't like he was. Oh no, actually in the cooler he was also kind of a loser, but he took out his dick, so that made him cool.
Well, that makes anybody cool, I
Right.
guess.
Yeah.
But he
then
wasn't
that's
like
a
he
real
was in
thing. He
Wild
actually
Hogs.
did have his dick out in the cooler.
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing. I'm
This
not
isn't-
lying about
This
that.
isn't the boy who cried dick.
No, it's not the boy who cried dick. It is an actual thing. His dick is out in that one.
I'm gonna look this up right now.
Okay. Anyways, so they continue on their way for the Charleston, trying to capture the ship in Charleston. And what happens? I'm forgetting a little bit of the plot. So after they do Charleston, or after they evade the ship as they head towards Charleston, they run into a little bit more trouble, right? This is not where they have to go to the bottom of the ocean. That's later.
No, that's later. So this part is done with relative ease.
Yeah.
And the Rip Torn is for Kelsey Grammer.
Yep.
And the other guy isn't. I can't remember his name.
No.
But
Yeah.
he is not for him.
He's an
And then,
unrecognizable character actor.
yeah, and there was some kind of talk. He's like, I've never lost a war game. He's talking to Rip Torn, and he's up for,
He's
his
going to get
3
his third
stars.
star. Yep.
And this is done very easily by Kelsey Grammer. So this guy is nervous. And so then he calls Kelsey Grammer via some kind of communication and tells him that the rules have changed.
Yeah.
The area he can go in is significantly smaller than what it actually is.
Yeah, so this was another inaccurate thing that I read on the submarine thing was when they capture the ship in Charleston Harbor, they shoot a red flare. That's a no-go. That's got to be a green flare. Green flare is a simulated torpedo. Red flare is submarine in distress. So that would have been a big no-no.
That would have been a problem.
Yeah, a real problem. So they're not totally accurate. Down Periscope isn't perfect. That's what we learned.
It's pretty darn
As
close.
you say, it's
It's
close.
as close as can be, but it's not perfect. And so off they go back into the ocean, and they're feeling pretty good about themselves. But they get this call, and they have these new criteria, and of course, Kelsey Grammer's like, shit, I'm gonna probably lose this because they're changing the rules on us. But let's keep going with it. And so they're heading towards Norfolk, Virginia, to do the last part of the war games, and the quadrants are just teeming with ships and airplanes and the submarines and stuff like that. So they're gonna have a real tough time evading capture. And they start getting pinged from everywhere. There's pings everywhere from these ships, from the airplanes, from the submarine, and so they do a real risky move. And Kelsey Grammer's like, take us to the bottom to what was the girl's name? Lauren Holly. Lauren Holly's character. Take us to the bottom. And she's like, what? Like, I've never done. You didn't simulate sinking our submarine to the bottom of the ocean.
Right, and just laying on the bottom because I guess that's not something that they would probably want you to do because you do risk wrecking your sub,
Right.
putting holes in it.
Yeah,
But
as we saw from that news article about the German sub, that's what happened. They messed up their fin on some rocks as they were going like real low. So like
That's
it's
the
real.
problem.
This is real life.
But the reason that they're going so low is because the sea floor can disguise you.
Yeah.
They can't really tell if they're pinging off the floor or off of a submarine that's sitting on the floor. So you basically go invisible via sonar.
And so they try to go real slow down, and then she kind of messes up a little bit, goes at the wrong angle, and hits this rough patch of the floor, and has a huge noise that happens. And it's what we learned from Crimson Tide as being like a sound short. It's like a really loud noise that basically told everyone in the surrounding area exactly where they were. So they come swarming, the submarine comes swarming, but they're having trouble seeing them. So everyone's real quiet. And this is the thing that like the biggest critiques of Hunt for the Red October, biggest critique of Crimson Tide, biggest critique of pretty much any submarine film is when you're quiet, it's not like just not, it's like real quiet.
Everybody has to shut up.
Yeah, you gotta shut up, and it really is like you can't be making noise.
Well, I guess because you're just in a metal tube.
Yeah,
and that sound through the water carries like mad.
Yeah,
anyways.
any banging around in that sub or anything is gonna cause a problem for you. And so they're listening real intently because they need to know whether the other sub is nearby or whether it leaves, and the other sub's trying to figure out if they're there as well. So they're sitting there and they're waiting.
This is when
real
the fart
quiet.
happens, right?
Yeah. And so we see the cook, and he gets a look in his face.
Well, he's sitting there. He's eating like some chili or something.
And
like
you know what's gonna happen.
that. Oh, you've got an idea.
Oh yeah, and this is when I turned to my wife and I was like, "He's gonna fart, and they're gonna think it's a whale, and they're going to leave." That was my prediction.
That would have been great.
I think
But what happened was actually pretty great and perfect for the character afterwards.
So he farts, and they're like, it sounded biological, some noise. So they must be down there. But then they're real quiet, and they're trying to figure out a way of kind of.
Well, but they really draw the fart scene out.
Oh yeah,
everybody's gagging and like
people
trying
puking,
to hold back puke.
and they're just like puking all over each other and like smearing it all over each other. It was gross. And
again, Jamie has the unrated extended cuts that
I need that.
they're not really sold in stores.
No, they're sold only on the dark web.
Yeah. You had to
Gotta
personally
find them.
access Kelsey Grammer's home network
Yeah.
and download it.
Yeah. they're waiting and they're hoping to hear something, and they're like, okay, they must be there. They must be there. And so they get an idea. Kelsey Grammer gets an idea and says, like, to sonar, because he was super into whale noises, like, you gotta basically sign
All they
language.
do is charades.
Yeah, they do
And
charades.
That's right.
It's funny.
It's drawn out.
It's drawn out,
real
but
long.
I guess it's like a funnier part of the movie if I had to. But it did go on for a while.
Okay, I disagree, but that's fine.
Whatever.
I didn't think. I mean, if you want to say funnier compared to every other part of this film,
That's
then
what I'm
fine,
saying.
sure,
Fair.
yeah. But the film itself is just a
Right.
desert of funniness.
Agreed.
And I was hoping to find an oasis, but everyone turned out to be a mirage.
Would have been awesome.
Yeah. So he starts doing whale noises, and this is when, like, I had predicted this whole thing, to my this is what's going to happen to my wife. She would have been fine with that. Those whale noises, she was like, you have to put this on your computer and put in some headphones because I'm not listening to this shit.
I could tell. I could tell my wife too. Is just she hates when there's some kind of repetitive noise or something like that.
Yeah, and this
She's
was
not having this.
this was as like it was embarrassingly bad. She's like, I'm embarrassed you're watching this right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But this did bring up. I even asked a question to Keenan during this movie. I said, "Do submarines have some kind of amplifiers on the outside where you could just mimic whale or dolphin noises? Why wouldn't you?"
I'm pretty sure this is the plot of Phantom. So you're basically you're talking like a Phantom device.
Well, but that just mimics any other vehicle.
So you're saying like they didn't engage the Phantom.
They would engage the whale Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom. Just
But
so
you
it
could
became a
essentially
whale.
shut the engines off and just all of a sudden start playing whale noises, right?
Yes.
You could.
I don't disagree with this, although when we get the Secretary of Defense, maybe he'll be able to let us know why this is
So
shot.
actually, that is top secret.
That is.
How did you know?
I mean, you'd have to do a myriad of things. I feel like
So when he's just silent,
mechanical is going to be better than biological.
he's silent. He's silent for 5 minutes. Like, damn it, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do to get these things up and running now.
This, or he's
Patent
like,
pending. Sorry.
we better get a patent on that before this launches.
Yeah.
We'll be rich.
So once again, they evade capture. They're basically like, okay, it's a whale or a
Right.
couple of whales like moving around down there. Like that's what we saw. Like let's get out of here. So they again abandon that pursuit. And Kelsey Grammer kind of realizes like this is going to be really tough sledding to be able to get into Norfolk. So he says like we're getting out of here. We're going out of the quadrants and we're going to like regroup.
Right.
And not follow the rules. Where like if this is a true war game where they're trying to see if someone can do this, like a rogue submarine, then it should be that. It can't be these like rules where they know exactly where they're going to be. So off he goes. And this is where Rob Schneider's character, who's basically been a Debbie Downer garbage character the whole film, is like, hell no, and pulls a Denzel Washington. It's great. It's almost an exact like copy of Crimson Tide.
And I mean, this movie came out in '96. Crimson Tide was '95.
Yeah,
so
I'm guessing they were spoofing it in some way.
Yes.
Which is essentially like you didn't follow the rules according to the Navy protocol, so I'm taking over the ship. I'm the captain now. That's what he says.
Yes.
He says, Tom Hanks, I'm the captain now. And
Like, wait, what? And that is foreshadowing.
yeah, and he's like, who's with me? And everyone's like, why would we? You're Rob Schneider. Why
We're
would
not
we be
going to
with
listen to you.
Yeah, hell no.
Kelsey Grammer just calmly takes back the comm, says, this is the captain. Anyone wants to go with him, you're free to do it.
Yeah, I'm not going to punish you. Go ahead.
Yep. But, surprise, everybody goes with Kelsey Grammer. And then Keenan, what do they do on the top of the ship?
Oh, it's great. They have the pirate scene,
Oh yeah.
blindfold, walk the plank, whole thing.
The Jonathan Penner, the gambling guy's outfit made me uncomfortable in the scene.
Oh,
Is he the one with the beer cans?
Yeah, he was the one.
Yeah.
He was the one that was very sparsely dressed.
I think I looked at Kyle and said, "What is that guy?" I literally called that out.
It was really hard to watch.
Yeah, it was
I
unfortunate.
mean, you about took it. I don't know what this final rating was. This PG-13.
well, with all the dicks, it was got to be X.
I was gonna say we got to be close.
Wow.
That might have taken it over the top.
Yeah.
This is the kind of movie where you have to go into like the back of a movie rental store and you have to have an ID with you. Like, oh, you're getting Down Periscope.
I mean, his outfit was Gaga-ish. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty close.
Yeah, it's like Lady Gaga. And so they make him walk the plank, and they're doing like a whole song and dance about it. What's funny is they have the Lauren Holly come out, and she's like, "Oh no, I can't believe you're like doing this," And then it's like all a trick, right? They have him blindfolded and they push him off the plank, and in he goes to a net of a fishing vessel, which is like, wait, but Lauren Holly would have seen that. Like, why was she so upset as like some kind of, like as if they were really going to have him walk the plank?
You know what?
It was very confusing.
You know what I think it is, Jamie?
Well, was she also watching the film with us?
No,
it felt like
it's acting.
Oh.
I know.
So maybe take this too seriously. Or not
know.
seriously enough.
You're right.
Did you guys think the whole time that he was going into a net, or did you think he was going in water?
Well, the way they had it, looked like he was going to go in the water, but I'm like, they're not just going to kill somebody because that's a serious offense.
I knew, I had watched this as a kid, and I somewhat semi-remembered this, so I knew he was going into like a net.
Okay.
He wasn't just going to be thrown to the sharks.
That would have been crazy. Imagine
that
that
would have
happened.
been really
That's
cool.
exactly where my mind went.
If they pushed him into the water and they were like, cool, and then off they went, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That would have been really funny.
You just killed that guy.
Yeah, they like push him, and there's all sorts of life preservers.
I am
like
surprised.
30 sharks.
I feel like if this was made a little bit earlier, what we would have seen is Rob Schneider return at the end of the film and climb onto that fake ship in Norfolk Harbor and be like, you know what, I'm going to like prevent, and then get blown up, get blown to pieces. That's like an 80s film. And then he'd be all charred. He'd have his like charred uniform, and they'd all make fun of him some more. But he didn't show up again ever. He just disappeared.
That was surprising.
It'd be like in
no callbacks or anything.
You remember that episode of Rick and Morty where they got Mr. Poopy Butthole and they accidentally shoot him?
Oh, yeah.
And at the end they show him like, because they thought he was fake, they show him going through like rehab, learn how to walk. That'd be like Rob Schneider if it were the 80s movie.
Yeah. And so they kick him off, and they're feeling pretty good about themselves. Now they're pirates. Like that becomes kind of like their thing. Like they're rogue pirates. They're ready to go. So they go off to capture Norfolk Harbor.
Right, and they do get pinged on the way back in.
Mm-hmm.
But the way to get out of this, there's also a lot of commercial traffic, so there's a big tanker.
Yeah, you even see that there is there's like a Chekhov's gun type situation where they show Kelsey Grammer like reading the logs for shipping vessels, and he like circles one and goes, and off they go to like use that as their like decoy. He knows that he's gonna have to do something like that.
Right, and they do a very shady maneuver here.
Oh yeah, and so they wanna use this shipping vessel to hide themselves, but they can't just go up from the bottom, right? That doesn't hide you. They can follow you all the way, and they'll know exactly where you are.
Right.
You need to go between the propellers and fit right in there, just like Kelsey Grammer's dick. Basically, I mean, it's basically this is now a clear metaphor for Kelsey Grammer's dick and him getting it in.
It is.
Yeah, a literal metaphor, as we see his dick also go in. In real, like in this movie, like just like clear penetration.
It's hardcore.
Yeah.
Through the screws.
Yep.
That's what they call it.
Through the screws. I could tell by the way he said it. I was supposed to think it was cool. And damn, it was cool.
Yeah, and so
the screws.
And he's like, okay, Lauren Holly, like you gotta do this, and she's like, I can't do this. There's no simulation for going between the propellers of a boat, right? She's
There
like,
should be after this movie at least.
Yeah. I think that's what they learned. That's probably the sequel is them designing the new simulator.
Annapolis is just taking notes right now.
Yeah.
Like, oh my word.
It's War Games 3. That's the sequel to Down Periscope. So it's the third movie in the War Games series, and then the second movie in Down Periscope. Because I don't know, War Games does have a video sequel, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. So this can't be the second one. It has to be the third one, unfortunately.
All right.
And so she's like, I can't do it. Like, you got to do it. You have more experience.
And he freaks out, and he starts doing it, and you can he's doing it, but he's not
purposely,
really, he's purposely screwing it up, but he's not, he doesn't really look like he knows what he's doing, and he's doing these things that seem dangerous, and she has to continually correct him, and he's like, well, I don't know how to do this, so you better come in here and help me out. And eventually she caves, and they're able to thread this needle.
And it's all a really dangerous maneuver just to get laid.
Yeah, it does. Oh, yeah.
That's basically what happens. There's no, I mean, basically, and then they immediately become like the couple. They have a relationship following this.
Yeah, because afterwards they're hiding, and she's like,
could have killed everyone just to get laid.
Yeah, because those props would have just like carved right through the side of the sub.
Yeah.
Right through that model sub that they had.
Right. Goodness.
Um,
And then she's, later she's down in his quarters.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, that really freaked me out," or whatever. And
How long would you have kept doing that before you took over and did it for real? And he's like, "It's just a heartbeat. You really had me going there."
Right.
Yeah.
Anytime you mention your heart, you're like, "Oh."
Yeah.
Weak
And
in
so
the
then they
knees.
kiss, and she's like, can I permission to speak freely?
Speak freely.
And it just kisses him
Yeah.
on the lips.
And that is unacceptable. That's unprofessional.
Right.
You can't do that.
We didn't
Not
have
acceptable.
any
It's
kissing in
native.
Phantom or Crimson Tide.
No,
It's all male cast.
there should have been. Wait, what?
To each their own.
Denzel.
Yeah, Ed Harris and Fichtner
Oh,
make out sesh. We needed that.
was anybody giving him? No, nobody was giving him mouth to mouth.
No.
Oh, somebody was giving mouth to mouth in Crimson Tide though. To
They
the
were
guy
only
who died.
they were only clutching his dick.
I can't feel beating anymore.
And so they're following the boat in, and they come out from outside underneath it, and they're heading towards the boat. They're seen by the sub, and at this point, the dick face commander or whatever.
William H. Macy. No, not even
the other
him.
guy. He gets onto the
Because he
sub.
takes
Oh, yeah.
over.
Yeah,
Did they show in your cut how he got on that ship?
a helicopter. Right? Did you not
I don't
have the
think I saw
helicopter?
that.
I think he took a helicopter.
Okay.
Yeah, he took a helicopter. Yeah, so they show him boarding a helicopter and then helicoptering over to a submarine. And it made me think that season 4, helicopter films.
Helicopter films would be great. I also thought of because Jamie and I are in a bowling league together. How
Bowling
great bowling movies would be good.
That would be good.
I said that really weird. How great bowling movies would be good is what I said. But nobody talk like that. There's this movie that I found where it's some kind of bowling horror film,
Oh man.
and it sounds amazing. Sounds like it's right up your alley, actually.
Ayo, right up your alley.
Oh,
Wow.
that'd be our first bowling movie we make.
That actually would be the name of it.
Oh
Right
my
up your
God!
alley.
Actually, we've actually talked about a bowling movie a lot. It involves a half cyborg robot rebellion.
It's no big deal. Don't worry about it.
But right up your alley should be the title.
There we go. And so they're kind of heading towards their target, and they've been given live torpedoes for this last target. It's a fake ship out there. It's like basically a decommissioned ship. It's going to be scrapped, so they let them use live torpedoes. And if they can blow up the ship, he wins.
Do you
And
think
so-
this type of stuff is a problem with like conservationists? So like, oh, we can
No,
like
it's
scrap
actually-
this, or I'm just going to blow it up and let it all sink to the ocean
Well,
floor.
it depends, because they often do that as part of conservation. Like they'll sink ships to build coral reefs.
Oh,
True.
all right.
Because things
I've heard
can
that before.
build onto it because it's got the surfaces.
I learned something new today.
Yeah. So like it probably was a case where they were, they had some problem with the harbor. They were sinking it right into the perfect spot. One can only assume.
Right.
They didn't go into detail on that plot point.
They
That's,
should have.
that's for the prequel. And so they get off there. It's kind of a race against time. They put like the guy. What's the famous actor who was the engine guy?
Oh.
Oh God, he's an alien.
Howard.
He just died. Oh, Harry Dean Stanton. So Harry Dean Stanton is the engine guy, and he pours like liquor into the engine to get it a little bit of
whiskey.
a little.
After it takes
Another
a
couple
pull.
RPM.
Yeah, a little bit of RPM, so a nice Jim Beam, just pour it right in there, and then
That stuff
they're
slows me
going a
down.
little bit,
Yeah.
they're going a little bit faster, and the other sub is chasing them, trying to get them into target range, and so they get off their torpedoes, or as they even call it, a couple of fish. They shoot off their fish. And they're able to, they're caught. They get a call, and they're like, "You're done. We got you." And Kelsey Grammer is like, "Oh man,
We respect the kill or
yeah,
whatever.
toss salad and scrambled eggs, and all that like regular stuff that he says all the time." And then he says, "But unfortunately, we got a couple fish off.
Well, no, fortunately,
Unfortunately for you."
yeah, for you.
Yeah.
But they were not able to lock on in time when they shot the torpedoes.
Right. Yeah.
From the hip.
Yep, so they shot from the hip, which is really hard to do. So he just had to call in the coordinates, but that made a big difference because if you would have waited for the lock on, they would have had you and you would have been dead.
And they
Virtually.
They blow up that ship, and they win. And everyone's celebrating. They get off the thing, and he's informed that he is not going to be getting his Los Angeles class sub that he was promised from Rip Torn. Instead, He's getting a Seawolf class sub.
U.S. Navy has 3 of them.
Yeah, and do you know what? They were supposed to have a lot more.
But they're too expensive.
Too expensive.
Yep, I looked this up too.
Yeah. Too expensive. They were supposed to be the next generation of subs. They built 3 of them. Too expensive. They went to the Virginia class or something?
Yes.
I can't
that's
remember.
correct.
It's another like city or state
The
class.
Seawolf just sounds way
Oh,
cool.
It's
yeah.
really good. I can't believe we don't have a movie, Seawolf.
That's a good point.
It's about a werewolf on a submarine.
That's an even better point.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I know it's great. So,
But it'd have to be some kind of futuristic, like cruise ship type submarine, where there's a lot of people.
yeah,
Like thousands of people on a
Wow,
submarine.
What did you
cruise
say?
ship submarine.
Yeah, that could be. Why is that not a thing?
Yeah, actually, with all the profits from this podcast, we should build our cruise ship
ship
submarine.
Yeah.
So far, you're going to pipe out whale noises.
Whale noises. Yeah.
You could do that on your cruise ship submarine.
Cruiser submarine. We
nobody
got
pings you.
we got Seawolf,
Call it
werewolf
Seawolf.
on a cruise ship submarine
Could be a
film.
themed cruise.
And we also have serial killer on a submarine, which I still don't think is a thing.
Right. And
You got a crew. It's got a 79-day mission. One of them's a serial killer, and it's not Ed Harris, the janitor. Don't worry about him. He's just got a small role. You won't see him again.
that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
If you were just put Ed Harris in this movie, it's all these like B-listers, and you have him, but he's just like a janitor, and you're like, wait,
I'm in.
isn't that Ed Harris?
Yeah.
Welcome aboard. How many?
Yeah, he's probably the serial
Welcome
killer.
aboard.
He's a famous actor.
Right. Or it could be like a Deep Blue Sea situation. Remember where they got Samuel L. Jackson's the biggest actor in that, and he just gets
Gone.
eaten by that shark.
That would be the beginning or anything. Ed Harris is the janitor, and he's the first one killed by that serial killer.
Or he just like slips and falls and hits his head, and, and he goes into a coma,
Consequence.
Oh man.
and then he comes back and he saves everybody.
Yeah, but he's a drunk and he has seizures because has some.
Because he hit his head.
Yep. Oh man, Phantom.
You need to really watch Phantom.
It's
King.
gonna haunt the rest of these podcasts.
Yeah, sorry to all our listeners.
All right, so that is a recap of what happened in this film. It's a little shorter, I think,
At
because
the
of
end, though,
less
there
happens.
was
lot
a very
funny.
foreshadowing event because Lauren Holly comes up to Kelsey Grammer right at the end.
Yep.
She's like,
Let's get
hey.
it in.
yeah, she's like,
get it on.
Let me, I want to hear more about this tattoo or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And that's not even exaggeration.
It's on.
That happens, and then they walk away together.
they
Yeah.
do.
And I had 20 more minutes of this film that was amazing. I can tell you that
20
much.
minutes past?
20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you're underestimating Kelsey Grammer. Come on.
Dude, TB12.
Yeah.
TV12.
He got it all from Kelsey Grammer.
I can tell you he is pliable.
It's a tattoo legible in all phases?
At some point, it started rubbing off. I mean, that's like
Oh,
usually,
Wow.
yeah.
Friction.
They were going at it. Yep, going for it.
Hey, what do you do if your girlfriend starts smoking?
Is this a joke?
Yes.
I don't know, what is it?
Slow down and use lube.
Ayo, Kelsey Grammer.
I told that to a guy at work. He literally started crying. I'm like, okay, man.
It's not that funny.
It's pretty darn good, but.
So yeah, what's your like overall impression of the film?
All right, like you said, this movie is set up as a comedy.
Yeah, it is.
And it's not funny.
It's not funny. It is definitively not funny. There's only a handful of films I will say that I found less funny than this one. Usually, even the bad comedies I watch a lot of, I would say, okay, I had like 3 scenes that were kind of funny or whatever. I can't even really think of one that was funny. I mean, there are characters I like. There are situations I like. I liked actually how he evaded the other subs and stuff like that. I thought it was
Right.
clever and kind of fun and interesting. But like jokes or
funny-wise?
funniness, nah, nothing. Not a single really thing that happened, and it was actually funny.
Right.
So
I guess the funniest thing is the welcome aboard dick tattoo. But they.
I think most people actually found that a giant detriment to the film. Like it's mentioned a lot in the reviews for this film as being a terrible part of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the funniest part is that it was carried on for so long through the film. I thought it was just going to be
Literally.
mention it, done.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Literally beginning to end.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know anything about carrying jokes on too far though, so I wouldn't know anything about that.
Me either. Ed Harris is not a joke to us.
No, and they pull out their dicks in these films. You just don't. People don't see it. I don't understand.
They're not paying attention to the details.
No, they're too
There's
distracted by the submarine. They don't see the dick hanging out.
It's like when a magician is doing something with one hand to distract you. If you just look at all the other characters on screen, you're like, why is everybody hanging brain right now?
Right. It's like, and that's they don't understand. They don't understand that the captain this is their realm. They own it. They can do whatever they want, and they pull out their dicks all the time.
Right. If anybody disagrees, you put them in the torpedo tube. Done. Shoot them out.
Send them out, just like in Transformer. That new submarine film.
Oh yes, that's right.
All right, so I gotta say I agree. It was one of the least funny comedies I've ever seen. And as I said, it's like someone wrote a super serious submarine film about war games, and then they were like, "We got to turn this into a comedy. We got to somehow turn this into a submarine comedy." And they just piled jokes and weird characters in to try to make it that. But
had it been
else
serious, it could have been.
I think it would have been great.
Yeah, I mean like you said, everybody says it's the most accurate.
Right.
I didn't know that till tonight.
Yeah.
But it would have been a really good, serious movie. Comedy, not so much. I expected it. I was like, oh, maybe we'll get some laughs. And I was just watching it. I'm like, it's when you have different expectations.
Right. So, how many inches are you giving it? Real question ends up being like ranking against Phantom.
Against Phantom.
Because we gave that, 5 inches about? Somewhere around
6
there.
inches.
6 inches, okay.
Six.
That's actually pretty good.
I mean, I guess this is maybe 5 inches?
I agree. 5
5
inches.
What do you think, Keenan?
I give it 5.
This is your first inch rating.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't know what all goes into the rating, but I was going to say...
like your visceral gut feeling.
I thought 6 was okay.
All
but
right.
then they lost some style points with Rip Torn's son coming in and his attitude and his right said, Fred, I'm too sexy, get up. Lost some style points for me.
He had a straight-up mesh tank top.
It was
we
weird.
did.
He was rocking that mesh tank top.
That was a little odd.
Yeah.
And the spotty, just unconnected tattoos.
Yeah.
It's just odd.
Yeah. And
I should have been a full sleeve. If you're going to go to a movie, you got to have a full sleeve.
I rarely wear a mesh tank top. At least...
Only when you're working out.
Yeah,
right?
less than once a week. Well, about once a week, probably.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Actually, he wears it at bowling nights.
Well, that's our team uniform.
Aerodynamic.
You just
wear it too.
No one else has gotten their uniform.
you go.
They haven't adopted it.
Yeah. So I agree though. I would give it a 5. I think it gets some points for all the submarine stuff, but like nothing else. Everything else about it is terrible, but it's a very accurate submarine film. More accurate than the ones we've seen, and then they have good stuff with those games, the war games and stuff like that. So it gets some benefit. It'll be interesting to see what falls below, where we actually have to say on the podcast, like, I rate this below Down Periscope. Like, that's a pretty big deal, I think.
That's setting the mark.
We do have a couple movies on the watch list. Which
I'm
pretty sure are gonna get
I can name
there.
a few. Agent Red,
Yep.
the USS Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be. Although that one
Stinger.
doesn't have much submarine, so it may take a while for us to actually watch.
Yeah, we're gonna get you guys
But
through a lot of
Stinger.
submarine movies first.
Stinger. That's the one, I think.
I think Stinger's gonna be pretty bad. When I looked that up on IMDb, only 2 actors or actresses in the movie had headshots on IMDb.
Ooh.
That's a
That's
great
rough.
sign.
And it has a 1.9.
IMDb.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
That's
Ugh.
rough.
Oh yeah.
It's an IMDb page full of sketch is what that is.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. So what do we got as other things we got going? Other sections.
Well,
So I got my trivia. You got your
Yeah.
submarine, and you got some news.
Keenan's
got some news.
Which one do you want to start with?
I don't know if you want to get your news ready, Keenan. I'll tell everybody about subs worldwide.
Oh, I thought you were going to go into a sponsor segment for a second. It's our new sponsor. We're not sponsored.
Surge.
Yeah.
I wish.
Surge.
Just sitting here drinking Surge. So last week we talked about Iranian subs. This week I decided, what the heck?
I just before you start this, if you listen to that one, you can just tell all the times that I tried to interrupt you to be like, all right, that's enough. All right.
You
all
did.
right.
You kept doing it.
God. Oh, man. Let's just keep going.
Yeah. And look at this. My notes are even longer this
Oh,
time. on
my
these.
God. Yeah.
So I was wondering, because all of us live close-ish to Canada. Sorry, I didn't mean to smack you.
That's all right.
So I was like, what is a Canadian Navy sub like? How many are there? What do they have? They have 4 total.
That's pretty good. How many do the United States have?
Like 70.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
all right.
They're really low on the list of what they have.
they probably have more than Argentina now, though, right?
I can't remember. There's some kind of list. I'll have to look it up and see what everybody's got. But the subs they're using are an older class of sub. There was actually some kind of political dispute because there was a while where Canada was going to research and build their own nuclear submarines.
Jesus.
But that fell through.
Obviously.
And so what happened was the UK was decommissioning these subs that were built in the 70s, these diesel electrics. And so Canada's like, well, what the heck? We'll just buy them. So they bought these and they renamed them. So the British names were the Unseen, the Unicorn, the Ursula, and the Upholder.
Great names, I got to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. I really like Unseen and Unicorn.
Unseen and Unicorn really go.
They're all with a U.
Yep.
Yeah, you got the Little Mermaid reference with Ursula. That's solid.
Right.
Sure.
That's all I could think of.
Now, be prepared for the Canadian names.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, God. Victoria. Windsor.
great.
Cornerbrook.
That's the worst one.
Come on.
And Chico Utumi.
Did I say that was the worst one? That one's the worst one.
Chico, you
I don't even know how the heck you say that.
Chikutami.
Somebody fell asleep on the keyboard on that one. I don't know.
Like, woke up. Well, good enough. But anyway, these subs were only built to support the rest of the British Navy. They weren't for the
Really?
main stuff. They were decommissioned at the end of the Cold War, and Canada said, "Hey, let's buy these, refit them." So, because they had certain specifications that they needed to meet. I don't know what they would have been because they didn't have any subs. They said, well, they gotta fit this. They hold 53 people on the sub. They're 230 feet, 7 inches long. Hull also has acoustic tiles that help reduce its sound signatures.
These are good facts.
These are.
I'm enjoying this.
And the battery. This is something that's pretty interesting with these diesel electrics.
I am interested by this, yeah.
Yeah. It can run for 90 hours.
Wow.
And so that's running silent for 90 hours. When it's submerged, it goes 20 knots. The surface only goes 12. It's got a couple torpedo tubes, but, it's whatever. They can go 55 knots. They can have a range of 24 miles, 40 knots.
Good. 24 miles.
That's
Yeah.
a long way to
Whoa.
shoot somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you're just in a lake or whatever the Canadian Navy's in.
Hudson Bay
Yeah.
or Lake Superior.
Yeah,
They
just
just
like
got them
gonna
up
say.
there.
Just battling out.
Or Lake Erie. Where
Hopefully not Lake
we'll
Erie.
take back Ohio.
Lake Erie, to be fair, you wouldn't be able to see anything.
No,
you would
so
not.
muddy.
Yeah.
But it's kind of
Fire
funny
from the
because there's in 2014, Canada bought some upgrade kits to allow these to fire more modern torpedoes.
Sweet.
And it's just kind of crazy. I mean, you're still outfitting these things from the 70s. You think at some point you're like, oh, maybe we should get something new. Guess not.
No. Wow. Look at that number for what they purchased it for.
Yes. Oh, and yeah, they bought these for $750 million.
Each or all of them?
Used. All of them.
All of them for $750 million.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty
So
good.
I guess it's not horrible.
Should we pull our money? What are we thinking?
I was going to say.
I think we can. I think we might have enough to get one. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With our salaries. I mean,
Used-
easily in the ad revenue we have for this.
Used sub business is strong.
It is.
750 mil.
Oh yeah, and that's what Germany's all about right now. Use sub business.
Well, because, I mean, they used to have so many.
Yeah. No, they don't have any.
No. But they have had a lot of issues with these. One of them even caught fire after, this is very much like Phantom. Water rushed in, hit the batteries, caused a fire. And then and then there was a whole big problem because they tried to put the fire out, but they needed to get the gas out. And all of a sudden they turned on oxygen, and that really sparked up another fire. This is what you get recording at home. But we can't drink when we record at the library.
Why?
Right,
I mean-
probably could. Actually, somebody would block the window.
There you go.
It's a very small booth, but it has a window to the outside, which one day when we're famous, people be like,
Yeah.
oh, look at them. They're in there recording their podcast.
And you know what? I don't. This isn't even unusual. I listen to a bunch of podcasts where people are like, "Oh, my cat just climbed in my lap." I'm like, well,
There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have trouble hearing you say that we couldn't drink at a public library. I knew you I mean, come on.
I can drink at a public library.
What happened to Bowling Green, Kyle?
Don't give out too much information.
What's the Kanye song? I miss the old Kanye. The something Kanye.
Is that the only Kanye song I know is All of the Lights, and then there's that music video where he cuts that demon Furby thing out of himself.
I think you're talking about the old Kanye. I'm talking about the new Kanye.
Oh, I don't know him. I literally know.
Like Katy Perry collab Kanye? That's new? That's old.
Wait,
Kanye.
did he actually do that one? Or when was that one?
That was...
I'm talking about like the new album, the one that he dropped while also at like a model show at MGH. Or MSG.
You mean MLG, Major League Gaming?
Yeah. All right, so is that the end of your sub?
Yes.
Great. No, it was real. You know what? This time I really loved it. It was great.
The fuck you did.
Okay. Well, should we move on to news, or do you want to do some? Let's do some news.
Yeah.
We can end with the facts about it.
You ready? This is what you've been waiting for, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I had this queued up. Yeah. I actually researched this a little bit. I've got to admit, during Down Periscope.
I saw you over there working on your phone.
That's probably where I forgot the helicopter scene.
Right.
I'm just going to admit to that right now.
You probably did.
But it was interesting. So it comes from the Navy Times. So first of all, it's legit. It's under the section of Your Navy.
Oh.
So even further.
That's pretty.
But it was an article about, I thought it was very interesting, talking about, Down Periscope talks about Lauren Holly coming on as the first female in a trial state at that point.
Yeah.
So this was 96, so they were way ahead of the game. You talked about foreshadowing.
It's actually true, because I think when we were watching Crimson Tide, they even said, or no, I guess it was in reference to this one, the first Navy to allow a woman on a submarine was like the next year. It was Norway. And so like this was way before the U.S. was doing it. It was like a place like Norway that actually was the first one to do it. And it was after the movie.
I don't recall that. After the movie.
It's a hell of a trial period.
At all.
We're looking at 14-year trial period, 13.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's lengthy. So it was interesting. I mean, it caught my eye because it said, first, the article opens up, every submarine in the U.S. fleet was designed with the height, reach, and strength of men in mind.
Ooh.
From the way valves are placed to how display screens are angled. I don't know if light bulb is the correct term for this, but that was an aha moment for me. I said, you know what? Never even thought about it. If you think about it, from the valves and everything, I mean, the amount of force it takes, all of that, you'd have to re-engineer from the top down. So that's what this article is touching on.
Not for everyone, though. I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Not for everyone on the sub.
Correct. So they kind of go through and they talk about, they've actually commissioned, and I have their name.
Oh, I see what you're
Electric
saying.
Boat.
Yeah.
What a clever name. Electric Boat is the name of the company who's been commissioned.
Oh, okay.
Won the contract from the government. But they are rolling out the first class of submarines in around 2020, 2021 that are engineered for both. So
both genders.
Both genders. So they will... Essentially, they've lowered the height on. They talked about display screens and things like that, but they hit on the valves quite a bit.
So they're going to have a submarine that's designed for all women, is that right? Or is it going to be that both can be
unisex?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
I see.
For every service member is what they term it. So
I think we should go the next step.
All women.
All women.
All men submarines.
Yeah.
Why not?
That'd be crazy. War games between men and women.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Cooler heads prevail.
I'm into it. So that's what is it? Our sixth venture of our company, or what?
Yes.
Yeah, much later.
We have quite a few things going on.
Cooking.
They even go so far, Columbia-class boats, which Electric Boat is rolling out. Valves will be generally placed lower. Sometimes there'll be an extension handle, and some will be easier to turn. Sailors will be able to connect their mast into emergency air system at the side of passageways instead of overhead. Things that I never even thought about. So as I was reading through this, I mean, you have to go through every single step when it comes to height, weight, everything. They have to accommodate for that. They even talk about engineering.
Yeah.
You talk about all-female boat. Could you potentially have heavier equipment in there?
It's another movie, too. All-female boat.
Oh, you're talking about heavier equipment because of the less weight?
Could you have a bigger payload? I don't know.
Oh, you probably could, because women typically weigh less than men.
Serious question. Secretary of Defense, we need these answers.
You could, you might be able to hold more torpedoes.
He just texted me. He's not going to make it tonight.
Damn it.
Why not? One day.
He said traffic.
That's bad.
It is rough around here.
Yeah.
This is my first time to...
Hey, we don't say the name of our place we live. Bleep that out.
New York.
Yeah, bleep that out.
Yes.
What was that stick thing on Nickelodeon?
Stickling. Oh.
Sticks tickling.
There's a baby with a mustache.
No.
He's got a plumber stash.
I think my wife is drunk.
Wait, so you cannot give out your location?
We're not going to.
Man,
We're on a submarine.
you guys got to brief me on this.
That's
stuff.
true. We're on it. Where we
Okay.
are is an undisclosed location on a submarine.
We're just off the coast of North Korea.
Yeah. We're near Vladivostok. Thank you.
See, we don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. I like that news.
That's
Solid.
good news.
Yeah. Good news. Progressive news.
Oh, and I forgot. Well, I
Hey,
forgot
good news.
the biggest part of that is they lifted the ban on female service members in 2010.
Wow.
That's very recently.
Yeah. That's way after G.I. Jane paved the road.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was also about a submarine that she was like in a trial for like being on a submarine.
Really?
Yeah, I believe so. She's in the Navy in it, G.I. Jane.
That sounds believable enough.
Yeah. I might be making it up and you wouldn't know.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. I'll just take him at his word.
All right, so now it's time for a little IMDb trivia. And I got some games associated with this time. This time I didn't just like half-ass it and just read some trivia. I'm doing some real stuff. Okay. So my favorite one, according to Tom Arnold, in an interview with Howard Stern, he was originally offered the lead role but turned it down. He also said that Kelsey Grammer did a much better job than he would have just before. So I agree with that. It's better with Kelsey Grammer than Tom Arnold.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this all happened just before Kelsey Grammer's like peak, kind of like Frasier was still below top 10 on TV. Like,
Right.
that year that it was released, it was 11, and the next year it was 16, and then after that it climbed up to like a peak of number 3 for most watched television show
Okay.
on TV. I looked through some of the other shows that were in the top 10 just to ask the question of would have been better with someone else in the lead role. So number 1 was ER. Is it better with George Clooney in the lead role?
Who's in the lead role? I've never watched it.
No. I'm saying the lead role of Down Periscope is now George Clooney. Is Down Periscope better?
It would have been better had the writing been different and they didn't want it to be a funny movie.
No, it's got to be this. It's the
Oh,
same
it's the
movie.
same movie?
Same movie, but it's George Clooney.
No.
No, I agree.
What do you think, Keenan?
No.
Okay.
It would have been no.
Okay.
Too serious.
So Seinfeld is number 2.
All right.
What about Kramer? Michael Richards as the captain.
I'd have to say no. He's always so spastic.
Pretty spastic. He might be better as like a sonar, or like the electric guy, Mike.
Yeah.
Nitro.
Yes. Nitro. Yes.
Okay, so number 4 that year was Friends. So Matthew Perry.
I think that's the closest to the ones you've said.
I think that
Yes.
one's. I think that one would be better.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry's a better one.
Probably. Yes.
Yeah.
He's got the right kind of humor for that.
Okay, you're
Right.
gonna like this one. Number 9, Home Improvement. Tim Allen.
Oh, jeez.
Tim Allen as
Tim
the
Allen.
Subman.
Yep.
He's making too many Santa movies at this time.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think this is like Matthew Perry's the closest to being like, oh, it would be better with him. This one's the closest to being this is the same. It's the same movie.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Probably
This is
would
the
be.
same movie.
Yes.
Now, like Tim
I think
Allen.
that is a push.
Yeah. And then the last one is number 1 in my heart, Ed Harris. Better movie or not?
Wait. Yes.
Yeah, obviously. Okay. All right, just wanted to make sure.
At first I was thinking, what number 1 show or top 10 show
In
was
my
Ed
heart.
Harris in? Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So you would have been
obviously.
kicked off the show if you didn't answer yes. So that's fine. Okay, so other trivia: film debut of comedian Patton Oswalt. You saw him in a couple scenes.
Yes. But very briefly.
Yeah, so he had to relieve 2 weeks in order to take a job as a writer for Mad TV. So he had to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's why you didn't see him out that much. That's the diesel submarine used in this movie was the USS Pompanita. It's a World War II submarine. It's on display in San Francisco as a museum. And it couldn't move under its own power. So there were some scenes with it kind of moving around. It was being towed, and everything else was models, and you could barely tell. AKA, you could obviously tell they were models.
Yeah. And you could tell in some of the scenes, if you knew what you were looking for, that it was being towed, you can kind of see out ahead of it, there's a current. It's not just the sub moving it under its
Right.
own power. There's a line.
Yeah. Okay, number 4 for the trivia. When the crew takes a Stingray for a test drive, they order a depth of 500 feet. They pass 400, which they remark is the crush depth. And we're very interested. That's why I brought this trivia up, because we're very interested in crush depth. Third in a row, 3 out of 3 so far, they talked about their crush depth.
Yes.
I'm waiting for the movie where they don't talk about the crush depth.
I'm like, well, obviously this is not a good submarine movie.
Yeah. So it was, in fact, the test depth rating for that class of submarine. So it shouldn't have been dived any deeper than 400 feet during peacetime.
Really?
And it's 2/3 of the depth the submarine was designed for. So I'm not sure. Maybe crush depth isn't like a accurate term or something like that, but they talk about the test depth as being that's what lined up with it.
So,
and so
I guess we need to look more into that. So the crush depth, you can go even further.
You can go below it. So
but you're probably going to die.
Yeah. So they say that there are several reported and accepted instances in World War II of submarines going below their crush depth without being destroyed, that they survived it.
Wow.
So, but you're not supposed to do it. And they actually survived relatively unscathed from doing it. So
Interesting.
All right, and so my last one. So the USS Stingray 161, which is what was used, was a Blau-class diesel submarine, also used as USS Swordfish 161 in the making of In Enemy Hands 2004, which also starred William H. Macy and Lauren Holly. So that's been mentioned before, right?
Yes, it is.
So I thought there would be a little game. You wanted to bring Ed Harris into this, and we've brought him up a couple times now, but not enough. So I wanted to. So the game here is 6 Degrees of Ed Harris. Can we make our way from this film all the way to Ed Harris using only submarine films? And so, I mean, obviously, off the top of your head, you're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
Yeah. So I did it for you.
Oh.
So I have it here.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it's just not possible. You can't do it off the top of your head. That'd be crazy. I mean, maybe eventually.
I'm like, well, yeah, obviously.
I mean, obviously, William H. Macy was in Down Periscope, but he was also in Enemy Hands, as we just mentioned.
Right.
Also in that movie is Thomas Kucherman. He was also in U-571.
Okay.
That also had Bill Paxton in it, who was also in the movie Navy SEALs, starring Charlie Sheen, which involves a submarine. In that movie is Michael Biehn, who's also in The Abyss.
Oh, and there it is.
And guess who's in The Abyss? Ed Harris, who's in Phantom. So there we go.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Even easier last time with Crimson Tide.
Mm-hmm.
So Viggo Mortensen was in G.I. Jane, which involves a submarine. In G.I. Jane is Jason Begg, who was in Phantom with Ed Harris.
My word.
Jeez. Double boom. No big deal. Don't worry about it.
That's great.
So there we go.
You know,
6 degrees of Ed Harris.
That's incredible.
Don't they say everybody on the planet's connected by 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
I'd like to find out how we're connected to Ed Harris. We have to start.
In what way, though?
That somebody we know knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
I bet I'm connected.
Knows Ed Harris.
I bet I'm connected. Because there are movie stars / television stars who have published papers in scientific journals.
Really?
And I have also. And so I can probably somehow, through a lot of different jumps, connect
to Ed Harris.
That way.
We need to delve deeper into this.
I'll find that one out, yeah.
Gears are turning.
Yep.
Gears are really turning.
So yeah, I don't know. Down Periscope.
I mean, if you're looking for a comedy movie, I'd say skip it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're looking to laugh, not your movie.
No, it's really not.
If you're looking for dicks, yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Right.
And just call me because I got the cut for you.
Yeah. Jamie will put it over Napster. He still uses that religiously.
Right. That's where I get all of my movies.
I mean, sub-movie, like you said, I guess it's the most accurate one.
If you're a Rob Schneider completist, also probably in your DVD queue.
Oh, they probably already have it.
Yeah.
There's not many of you out there, but if you are one, we want to meet you.
Yep.
Maybe via email.
I wonder if he did another submarine film. That's something I have to research. Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider?
Yeah.
A couple sub-movies?
I don't know if he did another one, though.
It seems like once you do one, you just need to keep doing more of them.
Yeah, I mean, clearly I can connect to a whole bunch of people using them.
Yeah. Like, oh, I've already done one. Whatever, I was good at it.
Yeah.
Just do another.
But yeah, so I think now, what are you thinking for the next movie?
We need to do a
good one.
Good one.
Yep. Hunt for the Red October.
I don't know about that. That's
Is
really
that too much?
hardcore. That's probably too much.
Oh man, that's you know what, you might be
There
right.
are newer ones.
And I just took out the book from the library, so
yeah, you gotta
I'm
read.
probably not gonna finish it by then.
I only read a third of it. Reading sucks.
Thanks for listening to Submersion. Find us on SoundCloud and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.